Due to the coronavirus pandemic, many of us are finding the need to wear a face mask. And I get it. They're uncomfortable, they restrict your breathing, and every time you go to touch it, you run the risk of making contamination even worse. So I came up with this. A simple, comfortable face covering that can be made in your kitchen with a couple common items. A t-shirt, a pair of safety glasses or sunglasses, and something like a metal coat hanger, a piece of wire, or even a ballpoint pen works. Now, before I go on, nothing on this channel should ever be considered medical advice. This is simply a comfortable way to satisfy the need for a face covering. Okay, to make this, you're going to need a couple of tools. You're going to need a tape measure to measure your shirt, a pair of scissors to cut it up, and some type of adhesive to glue it to your safety glasses. I recommend cyanoacrylate, also known as CA, or commonly super glue, and then some way to cut your coat hanger, metal wire, or ballpoint pen to make the structural support for the bottom, such as a pair of diagonals. So with that, let's get into making the face covering. Although not required, a permanent marker makes this a lot easier. First thing you want to do is measure out a section of your shirt 10 inches wide. The length of this should be 6 inches. So measure down the side 6 inches and make a mark. I'm using dots so I don't have marker all over my mask. And then simply cut out this section. With that cut out, the next thing we're going to need to do is cut this into a V slightly. So again, with your tape measure, you want to go about 3 inches on either side of center. So 5 would be center, so 2 inches here, and 8 inches here would be my edge. Then from somewhere around an inch or two up, you want to cut down towards those two marks. And you want to cut it into a slight V. And finally, you want to make a mark in the center of this mask where it's going to fit your nose piece. So that's about right here at 5 inches. Okay, so the next thing we're going to need to do is to secure the cloth to the safety glasses. Now, super glue, especially acrylic glue, is extremely messy. So try to be as careful as you can and do this just at one piece at a time. So the first piece you want to glue down is the center, the nose piece. So put a fair amount of your cyanoacrylate or super glue right around the nose piece, and then place that mark that you made right there into the nose piece, and then push the shirt right into it. Now you want to be sure that you don't have a whole lot of overhang, but you're going to glue the rest of the shirt here to the outside of the safety glasses. And you'll notice I didn't go as far as to glue it onto the hinge just yet. You want to be sure that hinge can still move. So only glue it to the lens first, then come over here to the hinge part. And again, this is the problem with super glue. Now go a little bit past that hinge. And go ahead and secure it up. Repeat the same process on the other side. Again, try to keep as much of the glue as you can off of the lens. I know that can be quite challenging with super glue, but especially acrylic glue, but well, if I can do it, you probably can too. Okay, so at this point your mask should look something like this, but there's one problem. This down here needs some kind of support, because if you breathe in quickly, it gets stuck to your face, and if you breathe out quickly, well, it doesn't really offer that much protection. So you need something that's going to give it a little bit of weight and structural support. And for that, I'm just going to use a piece of wire, but almost anything will do, even a ballpoint pen. So I happen to have some Romex cable laying around my house, and I'm just going to use this bamboo skewer to pull out one of the conductors. And yeah, even this bamboo skewer would actually work pretty well to give this bottom piece structure. Okay, for our bottom reinforcement, we want a little bit shorter than this section right here. So taking a pair of diagonals or even scissors usually can cut Romex wire. We're going to cut it off about like that. And as you can see, I'm leaving a little bit of extra cloth on either side. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just close enough. And then back to our super glue. We'll take some glue and run it over the bottom like that. And then fold this up over top to hold it in place. Now you want to be sure this is approximately centered. And the reason you want to be sure it's centered is because this will hang off to one side, because this acts as not only structural support, but also a little bit of weight. Okay, so the last thing you'll need to do is to bend that bottom wire into an approximate U shape. Since our faces aren't flat, well, you want it to hang even around your face. A mirror works fine to do this, and it should look something like that when you're done. And there you have it, a simple face covering. Of course, cleaning the lens does nothing for sanitation. For that, a little bit of isopropyl alcohol in a common container. Just pour some of it in. And then just simply take the cloth end of the face covering and drop it in there, and then work it around a little bit with your hands to make sure it's all thoroughly coated. Alcohol is a natural antiseptic, and we'll clean it off. And then you could just hang this somewhere to dry. Of course, you probably want to try to wring it out, but alcohol evaporates really quickly. So in about an hour or so, this will be fully dry and ready for its next use. I'm Alex Grieve, and thanks for watching Higher Voltage.